in this house I've been working on for like the last month and a half. I'm still finishing up the flooring. I've done a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to take you for a look around and wait for some people to come in here. But what I was going to show today is some more tips, examples about how to install LVP flooring. So I've got this row, I've got to start in this room here, coming off from this hallway. And everything from here back to that wall, that's the exterior wall, is done as far as the flooring goes. I'm just using the boxes here, flattened out on the floor, cardboard to protect the floors kind of as I'm walking through the job site, you know, making a mess and all that. So here's where I'm set up. This is a slab floor house, about 1,000 square feet, I think. And it's got 2 bathrooms. So here's the master bath. It's all tiled in, but still got to finish some flooring and then put the cabinetry in, finish everything else off in here, but it's getting very close. I also need to finish the grouting here. But moving back to the hallway, like I was saying, so I started this floor along this wall. This is the exterior wall of the master bedroom. And I gave it a little bit of space from that exterior wall, enough that the baseboard would cover it, but also enough that there's some expansion gap for the flooring. So I started here straight along this wall, and I measured back to the hallway outside the door, so that when I did the flooring from that wall up to between the door here, where it comes out to the hallway, because this flooring all interlocks with each other. It's like a tongue and groove type of thing. So when I laid this floor from that wall up to here, I then had to run a row of this flooring along all the way down this wall to that other exterior wall. So this room had to basically connect parallel to this room here, which is the kitchen. This flooring, you can kind of see the lines of it, these pieces of LVP. And I started laying the flooring in the kitchen along this exterior wall, laid it all the way up to here. I had a laser line shooting down the hallway, so that I had a parallel reference line parallel to this exterior wall. And that way, when I did this row, it connected all the way into this room without any kind of gaps or whatever. So it's kind of difficult because you have to get the flooring to get underneath of these existing door jambs and casings. And you want it to be pretty tight. There's a little bit of a micro gap there, about a skinny saw blade width, which what I use for that is this oscillating tool. It's a DeWalt Atomic, and basically you can see here, I've done it here, which is kind of where I'm at and which I wanted to show you guys. So I'm up to this point in the flooring now. I'm coming out of the hallway into this bedroom, and I'm gonna have to cut a piece, obviously, here, because I was getting a phone call. Okay. Probably a scam. So you'll be able to see here. You got to keep these floor surfaces really clean as you go as well, because this flooring has like it's got some geometry in it to where this really small tongue here goes into this groove that's shaped to accept it. But anyway, so I wanted my board to come out to about here. And that's basically starting with a full board at the wall here. So I just took a full length board and then lined it up. I'll show you. I basically took this board, put it all the way to the wall where I want the gap to be. So once the baseboard's on here, because I mean some of this wall's kind of chewed up, the drywall under there. You can kind of see actually the floor plate of the wall there peeking out. But the baseboard will cover this gap, but you need a little bit of gap here. You don't want it tight against the drywall anywhere, but or pinch. So once I've got that board, sorry my gimbal's kind of tripping out, but hey channel Chani, yeah, so my name's Dan. Flip it around here real quick. My name is Dan, HandymanPOV, and yeah, I'm showing you guys LVP flooring today. And yeah, so I'm a small channel. I'm pretty new. Flip you back around here. Pretty new. I've just been doing shorts up into this point, but I got 50 subscribers now. So here, I'm gonna try to get you guys a better angle. I'm getting set up for work here. But, okay. Back to what I'm doing, since this is watch me work. So I got the first board over here where I want it. And then I can kind of get this second board sort of temporarily together, but not locked in totally. And now these two pieces are kind of they're aligned. So the two pieces I've not hammered in the side here, and that's what you do, as far as I know, is you tap the ends, you tap it down with a hammer. But the long side, you've got to angle the flooring, angle it down, and get it tight, and then drop it. Sometimes you gotta kind of wiggle it to get it in, but Messi or Ronaldo. I'm not sure what you mean. Obieneth. But I'm just doing tips and tricks on how to install LVP flooring. So I've got these two pieces basically where they're gonna go, but now I gotta get these, and they're about sitting parallel with the row of flooring coming out of the hallway. So now I'm just gonna push this, and I've already cut the door jambs with my oscillating tool. And now I'm just going to like kind of slide You see I got my hand back here too, and I'm kind of sliding it that way to where it stops. Okay, and then I want to make sure that this gap is parallel, with each other, which it pretty much looks like it is. So I'm going to measure how wide that gap is. My tape measure. We're going to put the end of the tape measure to the actual finished edge of the flooring. Not there, not the tongue part, but like all the way back here to the finished edge of the flooring, and measure to the end of my pinky, which is where the finished edge of the other flooring is. And if we can see it, like 1 5/8 plus, but we need some expansion gap because this is tight against the drywall right now. So we'll call it 1 7/8. How about 1 7/8 off, a rip cut off of both of these pieces from the corner to here. And that is going to be, that'll make it so that I can shift these 2 rows as one unit and close this gap here. And then it's going to be kind of tricky to lock the tongues in because I can't really lift this very well when it's being pinched by the door frame and casing, because I got to slip it under there and lock it in. So I'm just going to have to beat it with a hammer, but I'm going to show you how I mark it out now. Thanks for whoever's still in here for watching. And 2 millimeter, I'm not sure. 2 millimeter? I'm not sure what you mean on that one. So, got my pencil here. I'm gonna mark the flooring. Right, I need to cut out that, what is it, 1 7/8. I need to rip it down the length of this flooring that way, but I need to stop it. I need this to be full piece with the factory edge. So I'm gonna mark it with a pencil. I like to mark it like just basically where the casing sits, just behind it. You see that? How it's like just to this, just inside this way of the front nose of the casing, which is this board here. And this is your jamb, okay? And because there's space behind the jamb in the casing. So anyway, so we're gonna come, this is where we're gonna stop. So I'm gonna pull this back now. You can see the whole 2 pieces came together. And now we're going to, hey, if you're liking this, give it a like. And take my square and line it up with my line there. I'm gonna draw it a square line, 1 7/8 back. Now I'm gonna go to my square here. It's got these little notches in it where I can insert my pencil between the notches, and it kind of holds it in there. And you can kind of twist it one way or the other to, depending on, you know, if your measurement is actually between the things. But we were going for 1 7/8, which is basically on here. And then I'm gonna just put my pencil down, holding this firmly, but not too tight. Holding my pencil in the same place, and then I'm gonna just do this, and you can see that will mark it out for me. I can go all the way down. Okay. Slide this up. Okay. inch and 7/8. Okay. Go back around this way. Sorry if that was loud. I don't know how the audio is turning out here. It's kind of, when you're doing this kind of work, it's just loud. Especially in a room with a concrete floor, it's kind of rough. But okay, so you can see now what I just did. We got to cut all this out. This is all going, and then we're gonna, then we can slide this in to there. Yeah. Now cutting this stuff is horrible if you're doing it by hand, which is how I'm going to show you how to do it, because some people, maybe all they have is a knife. And you can cut it with just like a utility knife. So here. Okay. You may notice that I'm probably gonna grunt a lot, breathing heavy and all that stuff. It's just comes with the territory, because this is hard work, and it's kind of rough on your body. Kind of working, squatting down this concrete all day, but so here we are, Handyman POV live, and we're doing LVP flooring installation tips and tricks. I've got just a utility knife blade here. It's not super sharp, but I do like to wear a leather glove or gloves when I work with this stuff, because it's just really hard, and sometimes the edges are kind of sharp, and I don't know, that extra padding can really make a difference sometimes. So I'm going to try and hold this straight and just follow my line. And I'm not pushing super hard right now. The line's a little hard to actually follow. It's a little bit heavy, but just kind of aim for the middle. Just trying to score it lightly for the first run. And try not to wobble side to side too much. Then we'll do a second pass. And again, you don't have to do super hard here, pushing. And you want to try and stay in the track that you just previously cut on the first pass. You can kind of stay in the track, or stay at least near it. It'll make it easier. See, this gripping this knife even and pulling it through this stuff is like, it's like I'm gonna get carpal tunnel or something in my hand. But so I scored this twice. It's a little bit chippy and stuff. But now what you can do is just flip it over, just like drywall or whatever. I'm gonna put my knees on the back edge of this. I'm gonna kind of put my fingers in underneath of it. I'm gonna start in the corner here, because it'll be weaker here. And sometimes you can use your knuckles, your fist. You wanna be right below where the cut you made is with this hand. And kind of with your fingers, you want to be above it on your front hand and below it on your back hand. Let's just say that. Okay, and then I'm going to pull up and push down, okay? And my knees are going to hold this thing, keep this thing from sliding around. And, okay, so that got it started. It started to break there. Now the rest is a lot easier. So now we're just going to work it along that break, and now we can fold it over, and the only thing that's keeping it together now is the whatever foam padding that's on the back of this. So I'll just take my knife gently on the back side, cut that off, and now this piece should be ready to install. And that's going all the way in the back corner. Okay. Now I've got number 2, which of course has this notch right here that I'm gonna have to, it makes it a little more difficult. But I'm gonna start with cutting this down again. Wish I had a better blade or a way to do this. Maybe somebody else can comment and tell me how you cut this stuff. I tried using like a flooring saw for this stuff, but it was like the Ryobi one, but the cutting capacity wasn't good on it for me, and it's too hard to adjust the cutting capacity, and you had to kind of like take it apart and too much in order to switch from rip cuts to perpendicular cuts. But there's this one part in this my knife is just slipping away. Okay. Man, this knife blade's getting dull. So this has been prepped. I can flip it over and get this piece loose. Gotta be careful there too. You can kind of smash your fingers real bad potentially. Okay, I got that started. Okay. And then I can just take now this thing is like the MVP right here, okay? It kind of looks like one of those old paper cutters that you would see in school. At least I did when I was growing up. But this thing, it's like by Anvil. It cuts this LVP, you know, like in one motion. Hey, thanks for the like, whoever's watching here. So, but I can do a shallow cut with this thing too. You just have to be careful with this that you've got it open all the way when you slide your LVP into it, because if it's kind of semi-closed, then it will scratch the finished surface of the LVP. So, so yeah, just keep that in mind. Make sure it's all the way open. I kind of use my foot to kind of hold it right there, and I grab my piece, kind of lift it up and gently guide it in there, and then you line up your pencil mark with the blade, the inside of the blade, because this is the flat part of it, and you just do we're just gonna do a little shallow cut right up to my line. That's all. Carefully slide it back out again. Now that's weakened the flooring right there in a nice straight line, and I'll easily be able to break this off now. Again, I'll put my knees on the back of the board. One hand under, front hand under, back hand below, and just pull back until it snaps. Grab your utility knife, put it in the corner, and it'll just come right off. All right, and then I may need to clean this corner up a little bit It's a little bit rounded there. It actually just happened to break that way. It could be fine as well. But you can kind of trim the edge of this flooring pretty easily. Like it's going to be hard to cut through big chunks of it, but if you're just trying to take a little sliver of it off, you can kind of see how it rolls up there. It's yeah, it's pretty easy to cut, just like a little chunk of it off. So now I've got my first piece in the corner over there, and I'm going to put my second piece kind of I'm going to guide it into the tongue of the other piece over there. Lay it down here. Get these together straight. Oh, come on. Let me know how the audio is. Anyone who's listening. Am I okay on the audio? Okay, so all right, 5 people in here. So now I've got these 2 pieces locked together. You just watched me cut them, measure them, and mark them and cut them. So now I've got this cutaway. Oh man, gimbal did not like that movement. Let's see if I can tilt it down here. So here we go. All right. So now we're going to be able to slide these 2 pieces together. Like this. Kind of one hand up here, one hand back here on this piece, and we're going to kind of, just with the edges of my fingers, kind of slide it in until we touch here. Now, you can see that the flooring disappeared underneath of the casing and the door jamb, which is great. That's what we want. You know, these casings and jambs, they don't look great because, you know, there's an old house and these are going to be painted. But I mean, once they're painted, this is going to look really sharp. But okay, I still got to close this gap here. All right. So let me show you how I try and do that. This is going to be a difficult one, folks. This is going to be hard. Let me get my hammer. Get a square. I might need a pry bar. Okay, pry bar. All right, so the way this flooring, actually, you know what? All right, I just thought of something. This is actually really easy. And let me show you guys how you do this. I don't know if you'll be able to see how I do this, but I'm gonna slide the edge of the flooring forward first. Beyond. You know, a little bit of something stuck in here. A little piece of junk is in here. Like a little piece of plastic tongue popped off and it's like stuck in there. Make sure you don't leave that. Hey, Bert, P9Q. So, yeah, this is Dan with HandymanPOV, live doing some flooring installation on a Thursday evening. So we're gonna get the tongue. We're gonna get this, gonna lift up here and get this over and into the tongue, the groove. All right, we're gonna get it where it's supposed to be. So now you can see the the gap, there's a little bit of a gap there, okay, still. But I can just lift this up and push it. I can give it a little tap and it'll close up. But now what I do, because it would have been hard to get this in where it was originally at, but I can kind of start with it here, and now I can just slide this. I'll use something to tap it with here, but I'll tap this over. See that? Watch it. Are we stuck? Oh, we're getting there somewhere. You can see I'm using a tapping block, sacrificial block at the end, and I just tapped it over. So now the flooring's hidden under there. Let me check. Make sure how we are back here still. So we lost our alignment on this board yet, and that's okay. It probably doesn't even take much to, yeah, see, it doesn't take anything to, they're not locked together yet. Oh, thanks, Bert. Just had a lot of experience with this type of work. So that's a decent gap. That's a little big of a gap there. I think baseboard would still barely cover it. It's like the wall sort of bows in right here, if that makes sense. So I need to go this way. That's a 1/2 inch, that's a 1/4 inch. So I want to go in about another 1/4 inch. So I can just keep on tapping this guy, this unit, tap it from this side, and that is gonna get us there. About a 1/4 inch, okay? I think that's probably all it took. I mean, this stuff just, on this concrete slab down here, it just slides pretty well. With that backing. Let's check our gap now. See, that's looking better. That's closing up. The baseboard is going to cover your gap, and you need your gap because, expansion and contraction, right? Look at my fingers. They're getting this black tar stuff from the flooring, from the concrete slab on it. But okay, our flooring pieces are basically where we want them. Now I'm gonna lock them together. So we're coming to our seam. And gonna make sure if I need to do any micro adjustment, if you wanna do any micro adjustment, definitely, try and make it perfect, this stuff, because okay, now they're locked together. So, and you know what, we can actually tap this down a little bit more. Let's do that. No problem in that. Okay. So, your first row with this flooring, it always establishes the rest of the flooring with this stuff, okay? Because, yeah, I have done this a long time, Bert. It's, but you see this, the profile of the flooring. It's got that profile on that side, and it's got this profile on the other side, and they lock together. Maybe I can demonstrate that real quick. So you've got side A. Let's see if we can get to focus. Hang on, folks. Here. This always seems to work, right? Come on. All right, sorry, guys. Yeah, it is my job. I'm self-employed and have been for like, how long have I been doing this? I've been self-employed for like at least 15 years. It showed up there for a second. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let me see if I can tilt it back. Yeah. So you're going these two shapes. Do I have the right ones together here? Yeah. See? Here we go. That's what it's supposed to do. So, away. Kind of push them together, drop them down. And then once I get them together like that, if you pull apart, try and pull them apart, you know, they're tight. Okay, you can get it, but you get the idea. But as soon as you lift this edge hardly at all, I mean, it just comes apart. So that's how this stuff works. And you know, this video is for you guys who are watching live, keeping me company. But it's also for anyone else who is, I'm gonna get some battery power here. Anyone else who is DIYing and trying to learn some tips and tricks on how to install this stuff. Okay, so now that I have gotten this first row started, we're looking parallel and everything, but you know, these two boards are only locked together by the ends right there. And you know, that's not really enough by itself to kind of keep these parallel together. So I need to start, I'm gonna start adding another row, and that's gonna kind of link them together and strengthen the flooring here. And I'm gonna show you guys how fast actually you can, once you get your first row and your rip cut, it's called a rip cut. My rip cut was against the wall here. And now it's pretty much just full pieces, but I've got to pay attention to my seams because we don't want seams like where the two boards come together. We don't want them to be like right next to each other. I mean, ideally to keep this parallel, both of these edges of these boards are manufactured boards are parallel, then we should be able to take one piece and put it right over where my seam is. And when I lift that up and lock it down, fold it down, it should, sometimes these need some coaxing. Yeah, this is what it's like doing flooring. You're on your knees, hands and knees on concrete all day. It's crawling around on your knees. It's hard work, but it can pay well. I say can, you know, if you're in the right, you got the right gigs, but all right, I think that I can kind of use this pry bar behind the flooring against the wall to sort of guide it if it needs to shift. But basically I want this gap between the two boards to close, and so that board I just installed should be holding this board and the next board beyond it, like holding them parallel again, like straight together. Yeah, so we've been going for 39 minutes here. Like and subscribe if you're still here and enjoy this content. If there's enough interest, I'll probably do some more of these. Here, I'll get you looking down on me. So even though generally you start installing the flooring from left to right, just because I was trying to square these two back boards up to each other, I went ahead and installed this piece and, where I wanted it. But again, they're easy to pull out and shift and modify, but I'm gonna go ahead and measure out now from the drywall to my finished edge here. And it's about 27 1/16. So I'm gonna grab a piece of flooring that I like. And what did I say, 27 and 3, 27 and, we'll just call it 27. Yeah, okay. But I need to measure that from, I'm holding the board, I've got the board oriented the way it's gonna be installed with the tongue on the back and the groove here. What did I say, 27 plus. So I need this edge to lock in. I need the left side edge to lock in with this part. I don't need a factory edge on the left side against this wall. So I'm gonna measure out from this side, 27 inches, give some, pull away the tape. I don't need to draw a square line. I don't need to use my square because I'm using the flooring cutter that has an edge down here to make your cut square with the board. And this is by Anvil brand. I don't know if there's any other ones out there anyone's used. I'd be kind of curious to know. If you want to leave a comment on the video later on. So if you can see that, I've got it slipped in here now. I'm gonna go ahead and make a cut right on my line. Okay, easy as that. Super easy, and it's a fairly square line. Now I can take this piece and you just slip it in under on this side a little bit. And I'm gonna have to lift this side a little bit too, so I don't stand on it, but I'm gonna lift this slightly, slip this edge under, drop the left side, but I need to lift it again. I need to get it in the tongue. Come on now. Bear with me. Okay. Don't know if you can all see that, what I'm trying to do here, but my camera kind of shifted over. Okay, so I'm trying to lift this thing. Sorry for the poor lighting as well, because it's just, that's what this environment is. Can't always choose your job site environment, but so we're gonna lift this enough that I can, all right, I'm just gonna have to lift this one off for a second, set it aside. Now put this one in, slide it all the way where I want it against the wall, drop it down. Okay, you saw that move a little bit. Now I'm gonna put this board in next to it. Oh, okay, hang on. Tap the first one in there better. Sometimes these you gotta pay attention. Some pieces are just you'll have some defective pieces at times. This kind of flooring. So you gotta, if you're having a lot of trouble, sometimes you gotta just pay attention. There's something wrong, but okay, I'm gonna use a little tap to Lock that. Now we're gonna. Sorry about the volume, people. Hope that wasn't too loud. Didn't hurt your ears. Okay. Let me show you what's going on now. There's a little bit of a gap. A little bit of a gap down here between these two. Can you see it? Right there. Watch what happens if I give it a nice little tap. If I can see if I can get it to close. See that? Okay. All right. Now we're got 2 rows started, and we can go ahead and even do start a 3rd row with this stuff. And that's basically what you want to do. Kind of get a few rows built out. And then evaluate. That's not the piece I need. So, yeah, we could go between the 2 seams. You want to pay attention to where your seams are. Or we could start with a short piece. Let me show you what I mean. You want to kind of space out how these are your seams, the edges of your boards. You kind of want to space them out in kind of a random pattern, more or less. So I've got a seam here. That's a full board. So there's a seam there. And a seam there. So there, right? So I have to decide, do I want one there, and there? Or do I want it there, and like a shorter piece? But you don't want what you don't want to do is what's called, I think, an H, where you go there, and then there again, like lined up with the other one. Yeah, you don't want to like go that way with your seams. You basically just want to like stagger it. And you also kind of don't want to do a stair step, too much of a stair step where you got a seam here, you know, like a short distance between the seams. You don't want that, if that makes sense. But let's, I think I got this one figured out. So let's keep on going with this. This would be a fine seam. I'm gonna cut a little bit off, a tiny bit. Drop it in. Make sure the floor is clean right around where you're installing this stuff, because any little bit of grit is gonna interfere with the connection, the tight connection of these pieces together. All right, that's another row. And we can even start the next row behind that with a shorter end piece. I'll measure for that. It's gonna be about, we'll call it 16 inches. Okay guys, sorry about that. I don't know if anybody, yeah, I guess people are still here, wow. Sorry about that, my phone died. So I lost my connection with the stream, but apparently I can get back on it. Anybody there in the chat still? Not sure, but so yeah, where I was when I got disconnected, which I'm actually charging my phone now off of this thing. But basically, I showed you how to get started in this room. Showed you how to get started with your first few rows. And once you get this kind of built out, it's just filling in the end pieces. You got cuts on the end to make. You know, that cut's gonna be a little bit tricky, sliding that under that door jamb corner here. But, and hey, thanks Bert for subscribing. Yeah, it's got to go under there, but I already showed you kind of how to do this first piece earlier, and you know, really the tricky part is just getting through the doorways. That's the hard part about this kind of flooring, and then making sure you're clean. You got to have you don't want debris on the floor. That's going to be like under a bump under this flooring, you know. But yeah, I just got to fill this in now. But I'm probably going to end this live stream here since it's like 52 minutes in, and like, I don't know, I'm probably going to leave here soon. Work, since it's, what time is it anyway? Oh, it's only 3 o'clock. So, okay, that's not too bad. 3 o'clock where I'm at, Midwestern time. So I'll give you a quick little tour of the house. So if you've watched any of my short videos that I've been making, then you've seen this already, possibly. But now we've got flooring in our bathroom. Again, this is LVP flooring. So I can cut this stuff really easily with the same cutter, the anvil, like paper cutter thing that I'm using to cut this other plank LVP. So I guess this is actually luxury vinyl plank, meant to look like wood flooring. It's not real wood. It's plastic, basically. And then this is like LVP tile, I guess you could call it. But it's pretty solid. Got it integrated underneath of the shower bathtub here, which here is like the final product. So if you saw my video on like tiling this bathtub, doing like waterproofing, measuring for drywall cutouts, and you know, then you'll see this basically transform from like just rough framing studs to all the way to this, basically me installing the tile on the walls. Couple short videos like about layout for the bathtub, because like I think I've kind of finally figured out like the best layout for tiling a bathtub like this. You know, if you're a tile person, if you're trying to do your own tile, or if you're just, you know, you're a designer, if you've got a contractor who needs to know where the tiles go, it's because it's really important. You want, which you never want like a sliver of tile going around the top of, you know, the wall. Like, I don't know, have you guys seen that before? Where you've just got like a sliver of tile going around. That looks bad. So, you know, you want almost a full tile, but you can't do a full tile because if the ceiling's not level, you've got to measure and cut these tiles to fit. But with this layout, okay, this is called a running bond when, or like brick stagger, right? You see how you've got bricks staggered 50-50 each row. See, with this layout in the size of a 5-foot wide tub, 5-foot wide opening, if you're using 24-inch tile, 24-inch by 12-inch high, then this is pretty much the ideal because you're using the most, you have the most full tiles, the largest tiles with the smallest cuts with this layout, I believe. It looks the cleanest, I think. Because you have full tile. These are full tiles on every row with a full tile at the top, full tile centered at the top. Yeah, 2 full tiles centered above the niche. And then these are just half tiles in between each row. But anywho, I finally got this grouted. I might make a video on that. I kind of filmed it. It's a disaster. Like grouting charcoal grout on matte. This is kind of a matte-ish white tile. It's a nightmare, folks. But kind of. But we got it done. It's looking good, I think. And then this is the same house. I've got like a staging area here. I've got to finish this flooring in this bedroom. The bedroom I just showed you here, which, that should be pretty easy. And then this is the hallway that from my video about how to install LVP flooring under door jambs or something like that, or in a hallway. And I also did a video. I shot a laser down this hallway, showing you how to kind of start your LVP flooring. Here's the kitchen. I did the video how to installing upper cabinets. This is the final result of, or almost final, I should say. Still got to put appliances in, little touch-up paints and plumbing and all that good stuff. But that is looking pretty nice. And then another video I did several videos on was like how to paint over wallpaper, and like skim coating with drywall mud. Anyways, this is the wall right here, and it's looking pretty good. It's painted, everything. It seems like it's nothing's peeling. I might need to touch it up with the paint some places, but I mean, if you had seen this wallpaper before, and if you had seen this kitchen before, which you can in my short videos, it was bad. But anyway, I hope that was entertaining. And if you watched this all the way through, please give it a like, a thumbs up, and a subscribe. And I'll be back for more in the future, live videos, or I'm trying to do all that. But anyways, take care, and I'll see you guys later.